Okay, I've started the recording. Just to make sure, I'm going to leave it run. So when you guys get this recording, of course, you're going to have some dead air, but just fast forward through that. Linda and Betty. Jerry's here. Good.
Yes.
Sorry, Jerry.
Oh, not a problem.
Did you sign up on Square?
No, no,
Oh, okay.
I sent you a check.
Oh, that's right. Yes, I did have that. So sorry for the.
Oh, not a problem. I'm in.
Okay. So I've got to add. Monica, I added. Okay, so today is all about acrylic ink and why. Why the heck would you ever want to use acrylic ink? Don't start this. Okay, I put some stuff in the handout, but I also put a lot of stuff in cluster. Here's a bunch of stuff that I put in cluster, and I'm going to add more to it as far as reference. All of these images were painted in acrylic ink. And why did I do that? For my background, I like landscapes. You might like florals. You might like people. You might like anything. All of it's possible using acrylic ink. And besides getting several different techniques, patterns, things like that, you could also use acrylic ink for a watercolor artist as an underpainting. I have done that in the past. You could use thin washes, and why would you want to do that? Well, you can kind of work out all your design issues and your proportions and whatever, and it dries permanently. So you can do that very light if you want, or you could actually just paint and it becomes part of the painting full strength. Why you should do that, I think, is kind of exciting, is it dries permanently. So you could do a start for a painting, and then you could add watercolor over the top of it. Because using the acrylic ink, Shirley knows, she's done a lot of acrylic ink. It gives you stuff that you cannot paint. And it's more controllable than watercolor start. And besides, with the watercolor start, getting all those interesting things and exciting things that happen that you would not have thought of to paint or would be impossible to paint, you can take advantage of those because you can put watercolor right on top of it. And you can also put transparent and opaque watercolor on top of it. So it makes it very interesting. It's kind of like if you guys, some of you took the granulating workshop, it does paint itself in a lot of ways, but you can get a different look to your painting by, let me minimize you guys. Whoops. No, I want that. I want to minimize. Oh, there we go. There we go. Anyway, here's several different looks, and I'll walk you through them quickly. Here's typical landscape up in Oregon or Michigan someplace. And most of this painted itself with using the nib to draw with, and then a spray bottle to melt it, to make it run and do its thing. And you can get some very interesting surprises. Let's put it that way. This is also an acrylic painting. Oh, that looks like a straight painting done in burnt quinacridone orange and Prussian blue. So, but those were all actually ink. I have the live samples of those here. So you can paint whatever subject you would like. This is my favorite way to paint and my style, which I like very minimal and graphic. But the orange, I kept it, the orange, the sunlight coming up, that was added with watercolor at the, once this painting was completely dried. So, and I wanted to keep it minimal. This is the start of old text, and that is with acrylic ink. And I drew the hat, I drew the brim, I put in some features, I put in the side of his face, I drew some things here. Anyway, that would be a start, and you can paint your transparent watercolor on top of that for the color. Flesh tones, you could do anything. So there's old Tex if you want to paint him. Here's a painting I did for, it was actually it was not on location. I did one on location, and I came back to the studio and did it. So here's a line that I made, and here's a couple of marks with the nib or the dropper. And then I sprayed it, and look at all this beautiful stuff that happens when you spray it. You don't know what's going to happen. So then you can use your brush. Here's where I used spatter with the ink, and then sprinkled water on it. So that gave me that tree effect. On and on. All this stuff seeped down into each other, gave me these beautiful reflections, besides controlling it with watercolor. And then at the end, I did put watercolor on top of this. So I'm not quite sure I'm done yet, but I did put blues, greens, oranges on top of it.
Oh, can you go back to the one right before that?
Yeah.
Focus on the difference.
Yeah, this is kind of how we're going to try this today. There's several ways we're going to try it. So I will also send you, maybe I'll show you later at lunch or something, or lunch break. There's a video that I found, 10 tips, 10 ways to paint acrylic inks. And they include brayers, where you can actually, and what I call smooges, which are monoprints. If you want a background to start with, you just want this morphic kind of background, and you don't want to melt it by putting watercolor on top. You can paint right over it. You can keep that as a background because it dries permanently. Another reason that you could use it. Did you have a question?
No, that's it.
Okay, there are a couple of rules speaking of this. This is acrylic ink, so you are going to be using your brush. I use my best brushes, but you have to leave them in the water. When you get done with it, don't lay it on your towel. Leave it in the water, because these are acrylic inks, and they will dry permanently.
I've made that mistake.
Yes.
And it's just like a little sculpture on the brush. You
Yeah,
can't do
yeah,
anything.
yeah.
And it's
And
expensive.
brush. Here's an image that was painted with acrylic ink. A student of mine had a shot of the Sierras, and he did it very. This is still wet. It was very boring. So with the acrylic ink, you get all this stuff happening that you can take advantage of. We're going to paint this today. This is just making a couple of lines with your dropper, and then spraying it right here. And that painted itself. I can't paint a tree like that. And then we're going to do several trees. There's a finished painting which was done. You can see the line. You can see the line that I started with, the acrylic ink. I happen to like minimal landscapes, a cool and a warm. Here's a feather that we're going to play with. There's another, here's a bunch of salt. Salt really reacts well to acrylic ink. It makes a good texture. especially when that salt is dry and you put white on top, and you can go back and add watercolor. There's another one. Here's another little one that we might paint today because this was all painted in the blue acrylic ink. And all this stuff happened. All this stuff happened because it was the acrylic ink and the spray. So we're actually painting with water. And then at the end, I went back and I threw some watercolor on it. This is a start. We can try this one too. I have reference on it in there. Somebody is saying yay. They're a master of the universe, but it gives you all these textures and things that you cannot get by painting. This is Anita Engel technique, and she used watercolor. I used acrylic ink, got the same result. And now I can go back and I can add color like a real ocean is. Ultramarine at the top, phthalo in the middle, and teal as it gets closer to the shore. And I can also paint gouache over the top of this. Or I could use some of my white acrylic ink to sculpt some of these rocks. This figure right here is going to be in watercolor and gouache. There's the image of it, their inspiration for it. So anyway, I also have a couple of other things that I want to try to paint today. We are going to paint mountains. I gave you a bunch of mountains. That's an example of the acrylic ink and reference if you like that. So is that. This painting was actually painted from this horrible image. So that's how I see things. You squint and you can see the shapes. That would be the secret of painting as far as I'm concerned. We are going to paint this. And we are going to paint this. I have not painted this yet, but it seems perfectly a perfect subject for the acrylic ink. I didn't put this in here for the roses. I put this in here for the design. They have very good design elements. In fact, here's the start. So that's using the acrylic ink. I just wanted 3 flowers. And now I can make those flowers any color I want. I can make them purple by adding my quinacridone rose over the top. I can make them yellow. I can make them whatever I want to make them by painting watercolor on top of it.
Oh, because the
But
watercolor's not gonna blend with
but-
those, it's just gonna go on top.
Huh?
Because the watercolor's not gonna blend with them, it's just gonna go sit on top.
Correct.
Yeah,
I've already got the flowers painted, so now all I want to do is add color.
yeah.
Because when you paint these, when you paint flowers especially, everybody paints petal by petal.
Mhm.
Well, this is just done with water and a drop, and it paints itself. And it's very cool, I think. I mean, you can't get that by regularly painting. Anyway, I'm showing that around class. Anyway, so this is just for design. That's all that's there for. So I'll put that away. I will add those in cluster as soon as it accepts it. I don't know what the issue is. First time it's happened to me in 10 years. Saying it's not could not upload the photo, so I'm not quite sure what the issue is. In fact, I'll try again later. By the way, you're all moderators on Cluster. For those of you who don't know, you can post your work here and you self-moderate. Here I'm on desktop, so there's post, add photos. I'm going to add this. I'm going to add this and upload photos. And we'll see if it takes it this time. If not, I'll put them up on screen while we're doing the exercise. We encountered a problem adding the following photos. Please try again later. I think that's there. It's on them. Anyway. So does anybody have any questions? Again, I'm going to play another video. I'm not doing these 10 techniques. I'm doing some of them, but they get kind of, you can try them. I'm just making you aware that it's possible, because my biggest thing for painting these is because it dries permanently.
Question,
Yes,
can you use acrylic ink on a canvas as an underpainting for oil?
sure, sure.
Sure.
Okay,
Yeah, it'll accept it. And you can get all your effects, all your surprises, all your inspiration, all your discovery by using the acrylic inks.
mm-hmm,
So yes, you can.
awesome.
Because it's soft, will it bleed?
On a canvas?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's just water. I mean, the canvas is gessoed.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I heard that.
So you can paint it the same surface. I mean, most canvas is gessoed, unless you're doing jute or something like that. Most canvases you buy from the art store, they're already gessoed. So let me go back. And I'll walk you through this, how I do it. Quickly, everybody can see this, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
Yes.
I know you can. Everybody can see this out in Zoom land?
Yes, we see it. I mean, I see it.
Okay,
Yes,
okay,
yeah, we can
Cool.
see.
okay.
You
Uh,
want your flowers?
Okay, there's my flowers. I'm gonna save these for later because I can just paint watercolor on top of them. I want to give you an example of how I do it. And we'll just start off with something very simple. These are my acrylic inks. I use F&W Dale Rowney acrylic ink. And I use these three colors, a cool, a warm, and a white, because I paint a lot of mountains. You can use, I know a lot of you have acrylic inks that you've tried, especially Shirley.
I'm a slave to art supplies.
Yes. She's got color. She's you can do this in any color that they come in. And also Liquitex makes acrylic inks, and I'm sure several other people do. So I use the nib, the dropper that comes with these. By the way, a word of caution: when you're using these, you get excited. So when you put down the ink, when you have this dropper loose, I'm going to do this. Do not set down your ink in a place you're going to knock it over, because I have several times. And when you get done painting with this, put it back on the bottle and screw it back on. It might seem hard, but anyway, I'm using a mister, and I'm also using a spray. So this one's going to spit water. This one's going to mist water. And you can use these, you can use the little guys, the travel sizes, I think will work too. So here is I'm just going to start off with a tree, just so you can see. Just a lot of this, we're going to spend some time in the next hour just figuring out how this works and the different techniques. And you can obviously try stuff. I want you to try stuff. So I'm just going to squeeze my top. And when you draw with it, it's going to come out heavy when you first put it on. So I'm starting at the bottom because the trunk of this tree is thicker. And I'm just going to make them straight line up, and then I'm going to draw a tree. Look at that. I drew a tree, and now I'm not squeezing as hard, and I'm just taking advantage of what ink is on the nib, so on and so forth.
Is that painful?
Now I am going to put this back on my bottle and screw it back on. Now this paper is flat. It is not at an angle, which we're used to. So now watch what happens. See, that tree is starting to paint itself. Look at that. That's pretty amazing. Look at that tree is painting itself. I'm gonna let it go over there a little bit. Now, what I can do is I can use a palette knife. I'm using a chopstick. I can take the ink that's already on there. And I can move it around. So there's my tree. Look, it's still painting itself. That's pretty cool. And make sure you have the paper towels handy. And this is going to dry lighter than what you're seeing here. I'm gonna soak up a little bit of this. And your fingers are gonna, no matter how careful you are, your fingers are going to get. So if you want to wear gloves, that's fine. Draw a little bit more bark in here. And make one of these a little thicker. Yeah, there you go. Make that guy a little thicker. So it's quite fun, and we are going to try something like this later on if you want to, just to see how it works. Here's a tree that is in the reference folder. These are all the trees in the background, so we can try something like that. I also tried this for some of you that might be interested. While this is cooking, you have to be patient. Let it do its thing. That's painting it beautifully, I think. I can always go back and I can add later on or get rid of stuff or say, oh, okay, I don't like that. So just go like that. This is on Yupo.
Oh.
I just wanted you to see that that's on Yupo when we get into, that's very, very interesting the way it,
Look at this.
yeah, that's where I made a line.
Yeah.
I made a line, and then I just sprayed it, and that's what happened. So anyway, and this is where the salt is. Anyway, this is very interesting. I have Yupo if you want to try that. Anyway, so there's all this stuff I can't paint.
Do you have an extra spray?
An extra spray.
Bottle, I love that. Pencil and spray bottle. Running for dogs.
We'll have to share this.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah, I'll just grab it back when
Okay.
I need it. Let me see what I have. So anyway, try this guy. Try that tree. See, look, it's still cooking. I could put some salt in there. I think it's too dry. It is. But I could use some spit. So see how I'm just doing the edges right here? I'm just tickling the edges, and also this is kind of dry. So I'm just going to spit, and that's going to give me a texture in there. See how that's, see what's happening? I'm making all those little leaves by themselves. It's really cool, I think. Again, with this, patience, grasshopper. I'm gonna put all this stuff I'm gonna put all this stuff back here.
Is your paper flat up there?
Yes, my paper is flat. I'm not using gravity. I want the paper to be flat because I want that, that's too much water right there.
Okay, what do I do?
Nothing.
Blot it?
No, you can just put some more ink in here if you want it darker. Spray this lightly until you get used to it. This is all gonna dry out a little lighter. But until you get used to it, just take what it gives you. Don't keep touching it. Because I have secret webcams on each one of your studios. So the alarm's gonna go off.
Joe, if you need an airier look, you blot it.
You can do whatever. There's no right or wrong way. I want you just to experiment to see what happens. If you said you too much water, okay, do it another tree. Do another one while that's drying.
Okay.
Yeah. It doesn't have to be, it could be abstract, but just to see how this works. Now I can go back and I can make that an autumn tree. I can put orange on top of that. I can spatter orange. I can do whatever. But it's painting itself much better than I could have painted this. It's so naturally believable. That's what I'm trying to get to. I want it to look believable, but I want it to look artful and I want it to look natural. This goes right back to the Nicholas Lopez kind of coined a phrase, the language of water. And so that's what this is. We're very lucky that we get to paint in water medium with a water medium. So take what this gives you and then go back and adjust once it's dry. This is drying fairly rapidly, except for where I put that fresh ink on. I can spatter this on top. I can spatter another color on top if I want. I have these little, these are great. I have these little plastic plates, plastic coated plates. And they make great little palettes for this. So I'm going to squeeze out a little bit of my warm color, and I'm going to squeeze out a little bit of my cool color. And now I can paint with a brush if I want, like this one was painted. That's all with a brush. Just painting it with watercolor. Oh, what was I going to do? I was going to do a little here. I've got a little brown. I've got a little bit of my warm color. Now I can put a little spatter on there. Look at that. That's pretty cool. By the way, on your water container, don't let it go dry. Don't let it sit too long because it's going to have that film of acrylic paint on it.
I'm sorry, what?
Your water container.
Oh,
You know
yeah,
that.
because that's my
Yeah, if you
watercolor
leave
thing,
it
yeah.
sit too long.
Yeah, I haven't done much with the acrylic, so I've
Okay.
just done a lot with the watercolor ink, so.
What you might want to do is just spit
Spit some more, okay, yeah.
a little on there. Just go,
little harder?
yeah, well, no, you're okay. I was just gonna say, around these edges,
Oh,
see,
oh, yeah.
I'm making a bigger, well, I'm just making an edge
Yeah.
that, yeah, usually what happens is you use, too much water, you're
Right.
okay.
It turned green and
But
it's
what did-
brown.
Did you have some blue in there?
Um,
Did you get blue in your brush or something? Doesn't make any difference. I can go back, we can go back later on and put color on top of
oh,
this. But you see how I'm getting the light and I'm getting volume as it keeps
Oh.
drying? Yeah, uh, here is a caution. Just don't use less water than you think. When you spray, it's not just a yeah, it's just a thoughtful little bitty areas, and then they're gonna go bleed into each other. See, I have a definite shape to this tree. I can go back and I can adjust that. I can add to it. So I have a definite shape. And I'm just using two very minimal, intense colors, sepia and indigo. So it's, for me, it's, going to be a value thing. I can't, I'm not gonna be. Here,
is that thing? blue?
no, you're okay. So, I mean, I'm just getting it started. See, I don't want more than that now. I wanna see what happens here.
Oh,
I wanna see what happens with that.
okay.
See, otherwise I'm just gonna end up.
Yeah, blob,
Big blob.
I get.
Yeah.
Got it.
Yeah, this is a good little exercise to just get you more comfortable with acrylic ink. Now, depending on what your style is, you can do just about anything you want. Here is a student who did an acrylic ink painting using a lot of color. So there's her acrylic ink painting. And she used a Sharpie white pen to do all the little white lines with. But she got all this stuff happening by making drops and then blowing through a straw, or it all runs into each other. But this was just a big kind of abstract painting before she started. That was Lorna. Believe it or not, that was Lorna.
That looks, I love that color combination
Yeah.
and splatter technique with the straw. That looks really cool. It layered together nice.
Yeah. Yeah, now you can use that painting and turn it from an abstract into something impressionistic by just using watercolor over it. You know, or the gel pen, or however you want to paint, doesn't make any difference. But this is going to dry permanently. Now, if I had Shirley's, probably got every color in the whole set. Anyway, you could add, at that time, you could add color. Now let that dry a little bit, and then use your dropper and go back and put in some of the
Sorry.
darks.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. This is a good way to learn this because you don't have color to rely on, so this is just value. So I know that trunk and those limbs are going to be darker. Now, if I want to bring a couple of those up into the top of that, I can very easily once this is dry, just by doing the same thing. Or I could just paint them in with a dagger brush or whatever I happen to have. I happen to like drawing with a stick. I like chopsticks too. Or if I'm out in the boonies, I used to paint plein air, and I just used to take a bottle of ink and a pad, and I used to find my brushes, twigs, little pieces of something to make a mark with. And it made me feel kind of like I'm one with the one with nature. In fact, I used to take photographs of the painting with the tools that I found. Used, you know, a bottle of ink and a pad and your brain.
Oh, that's neat.
Yeah, so it's kind of fun. While you're experimenting, here's another little painting that I did using the acrylic inks and using the acrylic inks. And so I could go back and I did go back in with some watercolor, but I could spatter this with watercolor. I could make it fall. I could make it whatever. I can use a white pencil on top of this. There, that's that way.
I'm excited to learn this, Joe, because I think with the bottom layers not shifting pigment like I have in watercolor on my landscapes, I'm excited that these will be permanent and then I can just like ice the cake with the watercolor.
Right. Is that acrylic ink or that's paint?
It's the,
So you got this, you got the inks that you start with, now you're putting paint on top.
right.
Okay, well,
We'll see. Many layers. Yeah.
yeah, so I'll let that dry for a couple of minutes, but let's I'm just going to show you another thing that you can do with this. So here's my blue. And this is my cool color. So again, I'm just going to start with the bottom of this and go up. And there, so there's my stem, my trunk of the tree. This time I'm going to go like this.
Oh,
That'll be kind of interesting, I think. And I'm going to lightly spray it. I'm just going to go way up above it. I'm up here toward the camera, way up above. And I'm just going to mist it a little bit because I want it to start growing. See what's happening? Look at the volume I'm getting. That's pretty cool. And I can't paint that. I cannot paint that. I'm going to stop and see what it gives me because now it's their turn. And I can go in with my brush if I want. I'll use my dagger brush. And now I can go back, add a little water. Add some volume, but I love what that just gave me. Pretty cool. No, I can't paint that. That looks pretty believable, but I can't paint that. I can't even copy it. I made it. I did when I put my blue down, I screwed the top back on. And this is going to keep getting more and more volume. So when you first do it, very gentle touch. I can also go back with this now and I can put some little whatever is happening. But I want to see what it gives me first. It'd be cool. Got a lit side, a shadow side. Do you use, you just used a little bit of water from way above, right?
Maybe I'm doing this close.
No, that's like I said, above, just to let it drop on there, I'll leave up foot 12 inches. Okay. Up here, when you first put that little
Yeah,
mist,
I think
mist
I did
on,
it too close.
it's going to blow up. So again, I want to start you off right. So less is more. Just be gentle and patient. I want these to be, I want this exercise there. I want you to see the value of your partner, your painting partner. So do not try to put down every brush stroke. You have time for that later when it's completely dry. Don't do it while it's wet. It's pretty good. I mean, you're getting a lot of interesting effects.
This one, this one, I put too much of everything.
Well, that's the way, that's always the way. It's either not enough or too much at the beginning of learning anything, right? I was going too fast. I was going too slow. Fell off my bike. I was going too fast. I ran in the mailbox. We're going to paint one more tree after this. You need a little bit more volume in here. Yeah, it's going to be thicker at the bottom and you know, it's like a real tree grows. It's got more volume at the bottom of it. So that's the reason that when I draw that initial line, I go up because that's going to be fresh there. And then a little down here, it's a little thicker, closer to here. You're okay. That's what this is for. Yeah, and it gets thinner as it goes up. There you go. And they're all kind of, they're not all the same.
Yeah,
So,
I did.
okay. Now, just hold that up here, screw that back on, hold that up here and just make it fuzzy.
Yeah, I was way
Fuzzy
too
to start with.
close.
When you first put it on, you might not see anything. That's a nice effect.
I like that.
I like that a lot. That's a nice effect. Just do it again. Do it till you see something happen. See how it's starting to build
Yeah,
volume? You mean to tell me that I'm gonna have to eat all of that pastry over there by myself? I know you have eggs or something.
Yeah, eggs.
Yeah.
Yeah, but
See how it's
Where's the
starting to build
pastry?
volume?
yeah.
I didn't, where's the pastry?
Huh?
Where's the pastry? Oh, behind you.
It's next to the coffee. Who made coffee?
I did.
Okay. Or you made hot chocolate? Yeah.
I like to matcha tea and cocoa. I'll have some. Wonderful.
See, this is drying lighter, but it's drying lighter in values. This was my darkest value. It's always looks darker when it's wet. Uh, but I still, that all dried together so that retained the values. It didn't just all become one shape. It's still interesting values. Once again, this workshop is not about color, it's about the technique. So I think this is going to dry out pretty well because I've got some dark, I've got some mid-tone, I've got light on this side, so it looks like it's being lit. Yeah, I've got a big drop right there. So I'm just going to take a little bit of that off so I don't smear it later on. Look at that. I guarantee you by the end of the day, my hands will not be. I'm not going to go get a mani.
Always.
Also, if you get this on your hands, this stuff used to be for brush cleaners. This Master's hand soap, or what was that hand soap that had the grit in it, that for mechanics and stuff like that? Used to be was it lava? I don't know. Anyway, this stuff works
Lava.
great. Okay, one last tree here. I'm gonna use the brown, and I'm just gonna make a kind of a single little tree, and kind of a delicate tree, because I'm going to use spatter on top of it. You can see that I can still paint. I'm not squeezing this. I can still, here I'll squeeze it a little bit, make that line a little thicker. It requires just a touch of pressure. So there's my tree. And all I want to do is mist this lightly. In fact, I want to kind of spit on it a little bit. Here I am. That's about as much as I want to do. Because I am going to be I'm going to spatter pink on there. After this is dry, I'm gonna spatter pink, orange on there and pink on here. And make it a cherry blossom tree. Yeah. Well, I still have some water on there. I'm going to take my little palette and draw a few lines. I think that is kind of cool. This would be good taking it out on in plein air and just painting trees. It'd be kind of fun, huh?
Would it?
I was just thinking that you'd trees
Yeah.
would go so much faster and it would be
Well,
super unique.
yeah, for me, it's more believable.
Right, right.
Did you wet the paper first on any of those?
So I'm doing everything on dry paper.
Okay, thanks.
And of course, you can add grass or whatever you want at the bottom of here. You can do that in watercolor. You can do that with a brush. I'm just going to take some of this color. Here's some grass. There we go. Now I just want to let that dry. Just take what it gives you. Do not try to go back and fix stuff. You can do that later. Oh, I need a little bit more of that there, that there. Just have enough patience.
Just
Huh?
too much something. Like either this paper is not doing it, or
Oh, I don't know.
It's
It just takes a little bit of doing it. You know, if you do a couple of sheets of this is kind of warm up.
yeah,
If you do,
That's what I'm
if you do a 6 trees or flowers or backgrounds or just to get, I don't care,
Warmed up.
leaves, I don't care what it is, just to warm up and get used to it.
gotcha.
You cannot do this the first time. I guarantee you, you're going to overdo it.
That's
See, this
what I-
changed completely. Now I'm getting this volume up here. So that's going to be pretty good when I sprinkle that pink on there. Cool. You have kind of a natural.
You want to see my apples? Because I've been doing a lot of ink, just not acrylic ink.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah. So I did this project. You're supposed to do 100 apples in 1 week.
Oh,
Took me 2 weeks because I didn't do that. What did you do? I did 100 apples in 2 weeks. But these are watercolor inks, but sort of similar.
oh, by the way, thank you. Watercolor inks will also work. Do they dry permanently?
I don't think so.
Okay, the only caveat in the watercolor inks, but they will work for this technique. You'll get this, except it just won't be permanent. That's all.
They don't dry? What do you do then? They dry, they don't dry. Oh, this feels permanent. Huh. Anyway, it's not done.
I don't use watercolor ink, so I don't know. Does anybody out there use watercolor inks?
I have used them both in the loadable brush pens and out of the container, and they are still water soluble. You'd have to put like an acrylic medium on them to get them to stay.
You could use a workable fix.
Oh, that's
I
right.
I have used workable fix on watercolors before. A very light spray, it will still accept watercolor.
That's right, Joe. I forgot about that.
Yeah, we used to use that in the business all the time. This is a workable fix. Here, let me go back.
The thing about having to do them fast.
Because that will keep gouache from moving too. When you put a second layer
Yeah,
on.
this is a workable
This
fix.
is artistic.
Protects pencil, pastel, and chalk drawings. That's
Yeah.
what it said. I've sprayed watercolor, a light coat with this, and I can put it on another coat of watercolor without screwing up what I've already done, and it will still accept.
Really fun. And the closer I got to the deadline, the better they got. And I thought I was doing a better job because I was going faster. Never gonna finish these things.
Unfortunately, we do not have any sunshine today to make this dry a little faster. I'm going to use a hairdryer a little couple minutes.
This is cool. It's really pretty. I love it. I love it. I love that look. Well, I've never used this acrylic ink. Oh, and it's pretty exciting. Oh, yeah. So you just, you got both sides. Oh, you else gonna do? Something else gonna buy. It's what it is pretty exciting. When you have a little palette of time, because I usually just use. And sometimes. Did you get this? I did. Don't tell anybody. Yeah, I get everything. I get most things, but I'm annoyed because I run my businesses out of business. I know, that's afraid of. But you know, if I want to invite them, I can go to 15 different drugstores. And everything's shut off, you know, it's all locked up, you know, and I could go to every time and tell my stuff works the next morning. Yeah, that's the point. It's really, it's wonderful, but I think it's, but it's, it's that, what are you gonna do? It's the way of the future.
Yeah, I don't
you
know. I'm old, so what do I
So,
do?
yeah, they don't know anything but.
I know.
It's like, what can I do? I gotta have vitamins.
Let's see, what have I done?
Oh,
Okay, I'm going to mix up a little bit of Quinn Rose. Maybe a little bit of alizarin in it. I'm going to try to set this on top of that.
oh, cherry tree, apple tree.
Okay, so now I've sprinkled pink on. And now what you want to do is you want to spit. Has anybody got my?
Straw.
Here, I have this guy. You want this one?
Yeah. Now I want to spit, so I'm going to use this spray bottle. And that is wet paint on dry paper. And when I sprinkle water on it, where water hits that color, it's going to blossom. And where it doesn't, it won't. So it'll be a nice combination of, you can see how it's blossoming.
You do
That's
those,
a nice spitter.
did you do those red dots But then I had to clean it all up, and then I had to hide the dog, and I spent like 2 weeks hiding this dog. When it was over the last day, I didn't know what I was going to do with it. And actually, your driver, Bo, said his father had just lost his dog of 16 years. And so Bo took this little dog. He went and lived on a lake with 100 acres, and he went to, literally dog. I was staying at this sort of go-to movie guy house in Atlanta. When they showed me the house, they were like,
Hello?
Hemsworth and Miley Cyrus.
Hello?
There's a strict
That's
no
not
dog.
one of us, is it?
I was going to work one morning, and there's a little dog. It's below 0, and I thought, oh, what harm can it do? And I let it in the house. When I came back,
It sounds like someone isn't on mute, but I don't know if it's a video playing in the background.
No, I haven't got any videos open.
No, but somebody who's on mute themselves.
I guess it's just, I don't know.
Joe, did you do those the red dots to begin with the dropper, or did you put it on something else?
No, I just mixed up paint,
And use a
my
brush.
regular watercolor, and I just spattered. See, so now I can put volume on a tree.
Can I use your spray bottle?
Yes. So now I can do whatever I want. Plum, cherry, whatever. So anyway, there you go. I think that's a pretty good introduction to how this works. Here, I'll just we'll just set it right there. And then I'll know where it is.
I have
And
two
then
dogs that are wanting to take a
just
walk,
use it.
and I get in my car as fast as I can.
You can just use it and then put it back.
Sometimes I don't get it all. Okay, now.
I want to do, I want you to try this first. So then we have 3 different ways we could do this. I just used the trees as a, you can all see this, right? Yes?
Yes.
No, I know you can. Yes, everybody can see
Yeah.
that. So I could spatter some orange, green, whatever on top of this. I could leave this alone. If I had a whole bunch of pine trees, that would be kind of cool. I could have this little tree, put birds in it, do whatever. So I'm going to let those dry. I'm going to let that dry. By the way, if you don't like anything that's happening, that's too strong, that's too weak, just blot it. Just blot it, just blot it. It'll all just go away. There we go. I can't tear this page off because it's wet. I'll get another pen. And I am going to put this up, and this will be until we start actually painting a scene. I still think this is a valuable exercise, so I'm going to put this guy up. Everybody's familiar with these. That was a beautiful leaf I found in my driveway. Actually, I shot that leaf when it was fresh, and then as it was turning, it took a couple of days, but it was kind of interesting. So here's something that you can actually draw if you want. What did I do with it? So I don't, I gave you printouts of this, correct? So I'm just going to draw the tree, draw the leaf. So here is my leaf that I have drawn. You can kind of see that. I made it kind of big. But I want to try something. I'm going to use the biggest dagger brush that I have. I'm going to use a big brush. I am going to paint this with clear water. And I'm not trying to be too careful with it. I'm just painting whatever kind of happens. I've left some dry spots in there. And I'm just going to use my brown. I can add color to this later. Wow,
Ooh, oh, wow.
look at that. That's going to paint that leaf for me. And I can pick it up and I can start moving this paint around a little bit. Yeah, it's got some coming in here like this. So I'll put that in there. Now I'm not doing a final painting of anything. I'm just setting this up to put watercolor on top. Pretty cool. We'll let that run and drip and go into each other. Look at that. Amazing. I keep wanting to paint and I don't want to disturb this from it painting itself. Now I'm going to wait a little bit and I'm going to put some salt in it, I think. Fun, huh?
Love it.
Yes, wonders.
Just let the thing paint itself. Don't try to start painting details or anything. You just pick it up, move it around, let it drip, let it run. If I wanted to let it run this way, I'll just tilt the pad. I'm getting some interesting stuff happening there. Again, it's the language of water. I do not want to do too much, but now I'm going to let that settle. I've got the basic shape of the leaf. And I think I've left enough area, open area, where I can put watercolor on top of this. Because this definitely is going to dry back lighter. I'm going to put a little salt down here. A little bit up here. Just to see what happens.
Use your salt.
Yeah.
I didn't bring salt. So.
Got to save enough of this for lunch. Anyway, that might have been too wet for the salt. I think I'm going to get some stuff happening in here. I think this is too wet. So, but just to try it. You could also try this. I just thought of it. Oh my gosh, what did I do with all of it? Oh, here it is. Remember, the advantage to this is it's going to dry permanently. So I'm going to crinkle up some plastic. Because this is an old leaf here. I'm just going to see what happens. It should have the same result as what I'm going to get from watercolor. Oh, that's beautiful, Diane. You've got the right colors for this.
You know, I don't know how you, mine is sepia brown.
Is it sepia?
That's what I'm using.
Did you shake it up?
Maybe that one's in it. No, it's here, the big one.
Oh, the big one. Yeah, it's probably settled.
Oh.
You got to shake these acrylic inks up because they will settle out, especially the white. We haven't used any white yet, but anyway, I'm experimenting right along with you. Oh, that's not, you're gonna have to leave that on there.
I know I can't, it's too big.
Oh, here, I have plastic.
No, I got it.
Okay. I want to have some stuff after we take a lunch break, which is about a half an hour. I want to have some stuff being able to dry. So we can do the flowers next. While this is drying and our trees are drying, we can try these guys. This is already dry, but we can try something like that. And then this afternoon or after lunch, we'll try some paintings, trying to put this all together. I just love what happens at the start where it all goes.
Yeah, blossoms.
Yeah. So you've got lots of room left for watercolor to go on there.
Yeah.
Yes, once again, I would tell everybody to go set it outside in the sun for it to dry, but
No sun. We have a little bit of mist.
Oh, do we?
yeah, I got misted this morning when I took the dog for a walk.
So how's your husband doing?
Great. He is,
Fabulous.
it's so unusual. He's cured.
Mm.
The last scan he had, she said, you don't need to do any more scans. But then he said, I want to do one more. So we're gonna do one next year. But he just had his 80th birthday this week.
Oh,
Yeah, my husband had pancreatic cancer. But
that
he
is
came through it.
wonderful that he's doing so well.
That's
He
incredible.
survived.
He survived and he's clear,
That
which
is
hardly ever
fabulous.
happens. So, yeah,
Oh.
we're so lucky.
That's just wonderful.
Yeah, it's so unusual. So we're very happy that the surgeon is thrilled
Oh,
and the oncologist, although we wish we did
Oh,
one
because-
less oncology treatment because that's when the neuropathy came on. It's
Yeah.
really annoying. You know, he might not be cured. So,
Yeah.
yeah, so, yeah, so we're very happy.
that is fabulous.
We just get back to our house sometimes. and
Yeah.
it's nice.
That's a,
Oh, it's a pain and it's more, emotionally upsetting than you think it would
oh,
be.
I can't imagine.
I couldn't, I just, and there was a while there, you know, where we didn't know, and then the maps started showing up and you could tell what houses survived and what ones didn't. You know,
Your
and
house survived.
our house survived. It's a mess, but it survived. When you turn the corner to come onto our street, there's 4 houses before us, they're all gone. And our house survived and the houses past us survived. The houses across the street, except for the ones right at the corner, also survived. But there's, you know, lead and, we don't have any asbestos, but some people do. And it's just, and it's Jody, one of our big picture windows blew out, but there was no fire inside. I don't know anything about thermodynamics, so I don't know how that works. So we tried to build up inside and everything just blew out. And it's just bizarre. It's still going there. You're like, what? No. Anyway, but we have a house, so, you know, I'm complaining and
It's not
whining, but we
livable.
have, not now, but it will be.
Yeah.
Yeah, and, so, you know, so I feel bad complaining because there are people who've lost everything.
Yeah.
You drive through the village
I
and
can't
there's
believe it.
just, it's
Oh,
like
I-
the firebombing of Dresden in World War II. It is, I can't believe it. I just can't. And a lot more
Unbelievable.
sympathy now. I mean, I always, you know, felt sorry for them, but people who undergo other disasters and things, you're just not aware of what that's like. And it's unbelievable. It's
Like a war zone.
it's like a war zone. I've fortunately never been in a war zone. But it's just,
Oh, I still remember that day, that 2 days, 3 days.
yeah,
I just watched TV.
yeah. Yeah, we just sat, we went to a hotel and we were just sitting there. Cause when you leave, you think everything was clear when we left, except it was really windy.
Yep.
And there were hurricane force winds that day, which is why the fire was everywhere, cause it would pick up embers and put them someplace else and start another fire. It was just unpredictable. And so Roger, I was at an art class in Brentwood and Roger called me and said, you know, we just got, cause he was at home and he said, we just got notice that we might have to evacuate. And I was thinking, yeah, then I thought, idiot, go home. You know? So got in my car, left all my art supplies at Brentwood, which was great because for the first few weeks, all my watercolor stuff was there. And so I had things to work with because otherwise everything was in the house, you couldn't get there.
Yeah.
And then so I came home and we, you know, gathered up we didn't really think we were gonna have to leave, you know, you don't think that. But we got, you know, passports, checkbooks, we had some cash, a few things like that. And, you know, put them by the front door. And then, you know, all the neighbors who were out and talking and I was outside and a fire guy, we live on a fairly narrow street. So he was just walking. He said, you guys got to get out now. And we're like, okay. And we put our stuff in the car and we decided to go in one car rather than get separated. And we went down to the beach and parked and we could see our house. And so we sat there for like an hour. And when we got there, it was clear and sunny. It was windy, but there wasn't any smoke or anything right around us. And then you watch it gradually get darker, and then these big black clouds engulf our house. And we thought, well, we're not going home today, that's for sure. And we got on the traffic on PCH just before it got so a lot of people had to abandon their cars because it got so crowded. And then the fire department and the Army Corps of Engineers or somebody came through, and a lot of cars just had to be crushed out of the way
Yep.
because you couldn't get through.
Yep.
And we got out just before that happened, and then sat there for like 3 or 4 days waiting to find out if we had a house. You know, just so awful. And if anybody doesn't have a go bag, pack your go bag.
Go.
A bag to have
Good
that.
advice, you know, you just forget 80-mile-an-hour wind.
Yeah,
You
you can't. And we did not, we always have said, oh, we should do that go bag thing. We never did it. And so then you're scrambling in a panic to get the things that you think you might need, and the things that if they got destroyed, it would be a nightmare. So that was, so because we were scrambling around, and that's not a good thing. And since we didn't lose our house, we were able, there were other things there that, were still there when we finally got back in, but were able to go to the house. But our neighbors, people, 4 families that we've known, 2 of them we've known for 30 years, they have nothing, and that's unbelievable.
How are you guys doing? You having fun? Are you discovering?
Well, I like
You.
oh, go ahead.
Yeah, the secret to this whole thing is just as I said before, less is more. You have this painting partner, you have this muse, you have this whatever. So take advantage of it, because what you're doing is the planning, and you're painting thoughtfully, and then you're going to let the medium do the execution, not you. So less touches. You can always go back because it's permanent. You can always go back and fix stuff. So
I'm very excited because I'm up here in Idaho, and evergreens are tough to do. And
yeah,
we have all the spring flowering trees. I'm just so excited, and fall leaves, and I'm thinking, all right, this gets me halfway there. It's great without a lot of work.
we're in Idaho.
Post Falls near Coeur d'Alene,
Quarterly.
in the
Okay.
Panhandle. Yeah.
I've had a lot of neighbors move to Idaho.
Yeah, 2 of our boys did
It's
during
either
COVID.
Idaho or Tennessee or Texas.
Yeah, yeah.
Uh,
Anyway, we're enjoying
the
the
Carolinas.
season. Yeah,
Yeah. A lot of people moved to Sandpoint. I don't know where that is, but
that's an hour north of us. It's beautiful.
yeah,
Yeah.
it's like your expats.
Yes. This place is crawling with Californians. Probably 80% of the people I meet came from California at one time or another. Anyway,
Exactly.
this is very exciting. Thank you. I'm glad I joined in today.
Oh, good. Okay, I'm going to go back and share again because I want to do this before. I want to have all this stuff by lunch break. So we just did the leaf. Anybody's finishing that. So I just want to take these flowers, and I'm going to show you how I did these, which I think are pretty cool. So I'm going to use a little bit of contaminated water to do these guys. So you can see actually what I paint. So I'm going to mix up a little bit of my blue,
These palettes out of this.
just so you can see
Joe,
where I put the water. And normally this would be clear water.
you can't
Oops,
quite see your palette.
What?
Need to move it down.
Move your
palette
plate
to-
down so we can see what's on the screen.
Oh, this?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. So I've got a little bit of blue here, and see how pale that is? That's what I'm going to do. And I'm just going to use some clear water, and I'm going to say, okay, here are my focal points. I'm looking at that thing, so I've got a middle of a flower there. I'm going to put another one there. I'm going to put another one there. So those are the middles of my flowers. And I'm just going to paint, normally this would be clear water. Okay, I'm just going to paint, and I'm going to be not too careful with this. I'm not painting petals. I'm just putting on some water. I think you can kind of see, and I'm leaving a space in the middle that's paper. Okay, I want these flowers to connect. And then I'm going to put this smaller one and down here. And I'm just painting water. Okay, so now that would normally be just clear water. You can see it's about water. Now I'm going to drop in some blue. And I just want to put it in the center. Just want to put it in right there. Look at that. Isn't that kind of cool how it just blossoms? A little bit here. And they're going to start painting themselves. I can pick this up and I can start moving it around. I want a little bit more water. I want a little bit more water. Water. I'm just touching this. I'm not doing much at all. I'm just getting that water moving. I could have used a little bit more water on this. Keep it moving. But a lot of this is going to be very, very light. Don't fall into the trap of trying to paint too much into the flowers. They'll be just fine. Kind of cool. It looks like flowers to me. Let that paint run back and forth into each other. While you're painting your trees out in the boonies, you could be painting flowers too. I'm lifting a little bit. You can go back in and yes, you can. I'm lifting a little bit because I want this flower to be in front of that one. So there's the petal. There's a petal. I want these flowers, I want them to connect. A better word. So I'm just painting a little water and that water is going to flow in. So there's a flower shape, flower shape, flower shape. That one's kind of square, so I'll round it off a little bit. In fact, I'm going to have one of these flowers go off the edge. Yep, that makes it more interesting. Now I'm just going to let that settle. Looks like flowers. And they don't have to be exactly because you're going to be painting watercolor on top. So that way, if you want to paint a certain flower, like an iris might be very good for this. Iris would be great to try to paint this. But there's my center of interest.
Joe, do you have an extra one of those paper plates?
Yeah, I got plenty of paper plates. These are perfect little palettes. to paint with. I'm not making roses. Roses are, for me, I don't think that's gonna work very well, but this is, by the way, this is practice paper, so I don't think the acrylic ink knows if it's 100% cotton. So no worries. You want to make something lighter? It's all going to be lighter. Just take a clean, thirsty brush before it settles too much. Clean, thirsty brush, and now I'm just lifting a little bit. You can see that acrylic dries pretty quickly. I can also wipe away with my paper towel, but I kind of like the variety of edges I'm getting. I could do the leaves, I can do the spatter, I can do all that stuff later on, but this is giving me, I think, I don't paint a lot of florals, but for me, this is very cool for painting itself and giving me stuff that I didn't think of. And I'm getting volume and I'm getting contrast. This is going to dry lighter, but still. I see what my lunch is going to be today. It's going to be all these little. Well, don't paint, just paint flower shapes.
Yeah.
You don't have to be too detailed about the flowers themselves, unless you're painting an iris, so you paint a water iris kind of shape. So you can, if you want to paint irises and you're excited about that, which are kind of a cool flower, minimal touches. Yeah.
I love
Yeah,
this.
just add, they're perfect. Just add. There you go. Idaho, boy, that would be a fun place to paint. I'd love that.
Things at home, except for a few things. I might have two dogs that were wanting to go and they were not gonna go.
Oh, they wanted to go with you. Oh.
Oh, what kind are they? Well, one is oh my, and she's an angel. The other one's an American Eskimo, and she is grand. Oh, there's always one in the ground, right?
How old are they?
One, the Aussie Doodle is 5. The American Eskimo is 3. Did you have them from babies? Yeah. Now, the Aussie Doodle came from wine country Labrador farm, and her name is Merlot. So when I'm calling her, I'm standing out in front of the house going, Merlot, Merlot.
People think you're saying, I need a drink.
The other one, I lost she was a Labrador. You know, Labradors are just programmed to love you.
Yeah.
And unconditional love is really nice.
Yeah.
When I lost her, I was very, very sad. Very, 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 very sad. So my husband went online and ordered from Florida in a pressurized crate an American Eskimo that looked very cute.
Yeah.
And when she got out of that crate, she gave him a look. It's like, excuse me, who are you? This is not my home.
Oh. Well, she was probably very disoriented.
No, she's been okay. That was nice.
Yeah.
It was nice.
Dogs are wonderful.
They are.
My granddaughter just got a Bernedoodle. Oh,
What do they look like?
I have never seen a dog. It has taken 2 months to get that dog under control, and it still works.
Uh,
And there's big,
They're big.
and she is gonna be a sweetheart.
They're great. As they get at 3, they start to turn in. But they're 24/7 dogs.
Oh, my granddaughter is doing fabulous. I'm just so proud of her.
So anyway, that's the dogs.
Jerry, are you still there? Hi, Jerry.
I'm still here too. I am making,
Oh, okay.
I'm making the most beautiful flowers I've ever seen.
Great.
I'm throwing dropper balls into the wet paper. God, they're really turning out beautiful. And then I'm putting some
Oh,
dropper
good
balls
for
of
you.
white on there. Like I can't pick it up because it'll run all over the place.
No. That's why I wanted to get enough of these done so afternoon we can put some watercolor on and finish these up. I'm going to do mine pretty quickly. Basically, it's just the flowers and the leaf so far, but then we'll pick a painting. We'll be democratic. If you want to paint mountains, that's fine. If you want to paint something else in that reference, that's fine. We are not going to paint that Parisian cafe scene. That would eat up too much. I want to make sure. That's beautiful, Diane. Look at that leaf.
good.
Oh, you need water. When you first put that water on, I made a mistake. It wasn't quite enough water when I painted those flowers to start with. So just,
Oh, I need more water on them?
well, for it to go,
This?
yeah.
Can
Yeah,
I
when you
still-
first started painting it,
Can I do it now?
blot that off, and then you can do it again. And paint right on top of it. Need another piece of paper. So what you're after, and I don't know what's going on with the volume of weather today, but what you're after when you put this on is with enough water to start with. Here, I'll just show you quickly. So I'm just going to spatter. I'm just going to do a bunch of water. So this is a clear water, and I've got quite a bit. I've got quite a bit of water on it.
You're not showing up here.
Okay.
Oh, you've got a
Thank
lot
you.
of water.
Yeah, I've got a lot of water on there. Okay, this is a really soppy wet. See all that water on there?
Yeah.
Okay. So I don't know what I'm gonna get. So I'll just try, I'll just use them. So I want to go right in the middle someplace. So it kind of spreads out. See how that just did it all by
Wow.
itself?
Oh, I'm not.
That's okay. That's what this is for. See, so now I can take and move this around.
Oh, okay.
See how I'm getting a water? See how it's painting itself?
Oh,
Look at that. See, I can make it go in any direction I want.
I thought you said to do petals. To
I'm just
shapes.
showing you how it works. I don't care what, I can make these into petals. There's a petal, here's a petal, here's a petal. I can make this, that's a flower shape right there. There's the middle.
Yeah.
Uh, no, I'm just showing you how it works. See,
Yeah,
I-
I get it.
now,
That's beautiful. I like that.
yeah. So now I can still go like this, but I don't want to do that too much because I want it to settle. I like the dark around here. I like the shape around there. That's one of those
Beautiful.
lilies or something.
Mhm.
And as that dries, I can go back and once that's damp, I can go back and I can put a little bit more ink because this is gonna dry back. I can put a little bit more ink right in the middle where I want it to be. Because this is very diluted. It's never gonna dry that dark.
Even the middle?
No, it will, if it looks right when it's wet, it's wrong.
Okay.
I'm gonna steal a little bit of water from that or paint from that. And I'm gonna put it down here in this little drop.
Oh. Oh, absolutely.
Yeah, I just made another little petal. I'm gonna connect those two. This is the dangerous part, so that's kind of looking irisy to me. I don't know if it is, but I'm gonna run a little paint down into it. Let it go back. See, that's the cool part about this, I think.
Exciting.
Yeah. You know, you could make all those backgrounds for your
People.
people done this way. So that does look not a full iris, but when that opens up, you know, it's got that funky edge to it. So it's pretty cool. So again, I just painted water and it was pretty soppy water. So you can, just by experimenting, just by get a big sheet of paper and paint a bunch of flowers and make each one a little bit different. So
I've been way too timid with it.
it's a piece of paper, so be aggressive, be confident.
Yeah.
See, because what Shirley's doing now is cool because that's going to bleed out. I wouldn't touch that one.
Okay.
That's going to bleed out, but she's lifting a little bit.
Also, didn't realize the color I was putting in
Uh-huh.
because I wouldn't have done this color. But then these are Payne's Gray, these little drops in here.
Okay.
Okay.
Oh, you're getting some nice granulation there.
So John, wait till it dries a bit more.
What are you going to do to it next? Anything? If
That
you're going to put watercolor on top of it,
Oh, that's a good idea. I haven't,
yeah, just put it on the table behind you and let it dry.
okay.
See, Diane's leaf is going to be absolutely great for watercolor.
Okay.
Oh, great colors.
Yeah, I mean, she's using different sets, but look at all that granular, look at all that texture that she's getting in there. Whoops, wrong way.
I think that was salt.
Yeah, I'm sure it was. Anyway,
And pepper.
so no, pepper doesn't work and paprika doesn't work.
Put some on it.
Look at how this is, you know, that looks very, I can't paint that. I can only paint it this way. By letting it paint itself.
That's,
Yes. That's cool.
it's very nice.
And that's just a throwaway. I mean, you know, just a play. That's kind of what this is about. So I'm going to be anxious to see that dry. By the way, for all of you who took the granulating workshop, Holbein has now come out with granulating paint.
Noticed that. So today,
He did.
Yeah,
Oh,
I sent you guys a link, I thought, here. Let me go back for a second.
I took that workshop a couple of years ago, I think. And I bet the paints I got were German.
There's 3 companies that make granulating watercolor now. Schminke and Daniel Smith started it, and Holbein. That just came out with theirs. Here, I'll send you both these. I'll send you both of these links.
has just released their new granulate.
Cause I'm not crazy about the ones I bought, to tell you the truth.
I mostly just use Tundra Violet.
yeah.
Here's the new Holbein granulating colors. I think I want to try this one. This is purple and yellow, it looks like. And I want to try this one.
Ooh, yeah.
That the guy right there, and there's one more. This looks to me like a Tundra Violet-ish. Oh, I wanted to try this one, pink and orange. And I think this one, as opposed, these two are very similar. Anyway, knowing me, I have to try. I'm limiting myself to 3. Anyway, that's Holbein's new
I love
granulating
that second one.
watercolor. Yeah. Okay, I'm going to, we'll take a short lunch break while this stuff is drying. And 12:30, maybe 12:20, 12:30-ish. Okay.
Okie dokie.
Joe, you know, I just had a thought. You,
Yeah.
early on in January or February, we were exploring, or maybe this is earlier, Nicholas Lopez, and we were exploring the granulating and the
Right.
right? And and I'm wondering if these, you know how there was some artist that had done the tree and got the tree to granulate, but everything else seemed to be in place as like an underpainting. And I'm wondering if that's how you could get that same effect with using the acrylic inks and then using the
Oh,
granulate.
sure, you can use more than one color.
Yeah, yes, that would be great.
I only have these two colors because it's not about color. I want to keep it simple. A lot of people here have a bunch of different colors. But I just want you to see the process because it's really easy to overdo this, as I think most of us found out.
Yes, me too.
So, yeah, using colored acrylic inks is just another way to go. They will not granulate like that lunar black, but they will have a beautiful effect, I think.
Yeah.
So you could do you if you're using it for an underpainting, yes, you can certainly do it. Or just like the leaf I just showed you, Diane's leaf. She's using, I don't know what she's using. She's using sepia, but I don't think
Shaking.
I don't think she shook it up. So it
It's
doesn't look like my sepia.
Yeah.
They're sitting.
Yeah. So that's okay.
Yeah, that's okay. It's you're making it happen.
Yep. And then we have Shirley, who has every color,
No, I don't.
almost every color.
I understand. I got a little carried away myself.
Now,
I always get carried away with art supplies. When I was working, it used to be shoes.
okay. I'm going to play this in a few minutes while we are grabbing a snack. By the way, Bridget, something else to try. I actually have an empty box. Hey, Linda. Yes. Hi, Linda.
That's him. We're in the last 2 hours of the. Cool. We can watch a little bit. Yeah, see, he's got people behind him. It's just
Okay.
all low key. It's.
Well, you'll have the recording, so and you can catch up and see what we've been doing. I'll walk you through it.
Doesn't look
By
like
the
it's your
way,
phone. Oh, that's why.
By the
He's
way, Bridget,
aged. That's not his. Yeah, he looks like he's aged.
is that somebody else talking again? Oh, well, I have something new to try. I was going to show you this. It's acrylic gouache. I actually tried this, but it's been so long ago that uh, I think my memory is going. But I have an empty box. Somebody asked me about Holbein acrylic gouache, which is gouache that dries permanently. So that would also be a good thing to paint. Whoops, plein air. Because it dries fast. You only have a very limited time to paint. So that's better. In fact, white, do you have white?
Yeah,
Okay, is that still damp?
wet,
Wet?
yes. And it's not,
Just put a drop of white.
I barely have any.
Oh, I've got some.
No,
I've
no,
got white.
I put a little
Put a drop right here.
water in.
Oh, here, use mine.
Wait, no,
No, I want it to be,
wet. Let me do that. I'll get it. Okay, thank you. I'm gonna get some.
It's so much fun watching what happens.
I know, well, that's the whole point of all of this. Now, I guarantee you that's gonna pale out. It's not gonna be quite as white, so just keep an eye on it. And then when it gets like semi-dry,
Put some
another dot.
Okay.
But see, that's gonna be kind of cool.
Joe, I wanted to show you, I'm working on this. I think I need a pen to do the.
Okay.
What I'm gonna do is get rid of all this. I'm gonna go from here.
Yeah.
I've gotta come in here. This is too thick.
Here, this is not gonna be exactly right, but it's gonna be closer.
Yeah,
Well, here, back here.
I hate portraits.
Really?
Are
I hate oh, it takes me a long
Oh,
time. to
by
draw
the
them.
way, everybody in class,
Uh-huh.
well, you know what's going on if you watched any of the videos, but everybody has to do their own selfie.
That's what we're
Oh.
doing.
Oh, I gotta do
Here.
that, yeah.
Okay.
I'll give you a better idea.
Oh, yeah. But how is this, see that I did real quick,
That's nice.
I've
but
been
this-
teaching them Loomis head, how to draw the Loomis
Oh,
head.
yeah, yeah.
And also using the Asaro head for the planes of lighting, so
Yeah.
I did all three from my selfie.
Wow.
and it had to be ink.
No, it didn't have to be ink.
Oh, well, I'm
That's
thinking
Okay,
that.
terrific.
of course.
Yeah. Are those, now, do those tapes stay up for a while? I mean, are they, or do they disappear after a week? or
After
so?
a while, they disappear after a couple of months.
Oh, okay,
Ink?
so I can still do the ones, the more recent ones, because I have, my life has just been.
Yeah,
out of
yeah.
control.
You can still do the more recent ones. Okay, let me start this, video.
I can't wait.
Linda disappeared.
One on my website of me that I did a long time ago, yeah.
What's your website?
ShirleyPeppersArt.com.
Okay.
I'll give you a card.
Oh, good.
I don't sell
Okay,
anything, I never sell.
I'm gonna wait a couple minutes for Paula to get back. There she is. Okay, here's just some,
So minute.
here's just some ideas about using acrylic ink. And there are other uses for it that you can do. So that they also have watercolor ink in here. I'll send you the link to this in case you guys want to try any of them. I'm not doing any of these today, but here we go.
I thought we could explore inks, and I've got 10 great techniques for you to try. So if you have inks in your stash or you're looking to buy them, then hopefully this will give you some ideas to inspire you to get creative with them. Now, the inks that I'm going to use today are acrylic inks, but a lot of these techniques will work with other inks that you might have. So drawing inks, dyes, your liquid watercolors, which are very popular at the moment, and even your ink pad re-inkers. So grab what you have and give them a go and see what you can do. So the paper I'm going to use is this Fabriano Artist Paper Pack, and you can buy this in different weights. So the one I've got is the 120 GSM, which I believe is around £32 if you do your paper weights in pounds. So this paper is perfect for printing on, and it will take light washes, and of course it is great for drawing on as well. And I buy it in bulk like this because I get through a lot of it and it works out a lot cheaper. So have a look around and see what you can get. For these types of experiments, you don't necessarily need top quality artist paper. You just want something to play around with and make lots of messes with. And as usual, I've listed all the products that I've used in the description below the video. So if you're using acrylic inks or pigment inks, then it's possible that you've got a bit of sediment at the bottom of your bottle if they've been standing for a while. So you're going to need to mix that back in. So give it a good old shake. Or if there's instructions on the bottle, just follow the instructions. So technique number 1, let's use it with a brayer. So there's tons of ways that you can use inks with brayers. And if you're a card maker, then you probably know quite a few already. But you may not have thought about using the inks that you get in jars with brayers, like these acrylic inks. So quick, simple way, just drip it out onto a non-absorbent surface like a craft mat or a flat palette, pick it up with the brayer and spread it out on your paper. Now doing it this way, you get some great texture. But if you want a smoother look, then apply your ink to a piece of foam to make your own ink pad and use traditional ink pad brayering techniques. But if you're using acrylic inks in that way, then you are going to need to make sure you wash that foam afterwards, as the acrylic inks might dry hard. Another fun way of using the brayer is to use one that or ink pad brayering techniques. But if you're using acrylic inks,
Okay, what you could use this for is backgrounds. Say I have a background or something, old building, you just want something different.
in that way, then you are going to need to make sure you wash that foam afterwards, as the acrylic inks might dry hard. Another fun way of using the brayer is to use one that already has a texture on it. And I love making my own textures using craft foam, and I've hand cut these and just stuck them to my brayer. But you can also use dyes to do this. So if you've seen my 5 ways with background dyes, then you would have seen me doing that. So I'll leave a link to that video in the cards and also in the description below. And then, of course, there's always the elastic bands, isn't there? You can just add an elastic band to your brayer, and that's just a super simple way of adding some more texture and getting some fun mark making. So once we're on brayers, why don't we try cutouts and masking? So I've just cut out some really simple shapes just using ordinary copier paper. So this is the kind of stuff that you just put in your printer. So I'm just going to use these shapes to mask off some areas. And I don't want the shapes to move as I pass the brayer over them. So I'm just going to use some low tack tape like washi tape, folded into a tube and stuck on the back of my shapes to keep them in place. So let's have a play and see how well this works. Quite a useful little technique. Now what you need to do is just to make sure that you have enough ink on the edges so you can see that definition between where the mask was and where the mask wasn't when you
By the way, all these things that she's shown you so far, you can spray them to soften them out.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, so you could just, after you roll it on, just soften them out.
take the mask off. Okay, next up, let's play with some ink washes. Now how these work will depend on what type of ink you're using. So if you're using watercolors or dye-based inks, they may act slightly differently to the acrylic inks. For one thing, quite a lot of the acrylic inks will dry permanently. So once they're dry, if you add water over the top, they won't budge. Whereas with a lot of the fluid watercolors and dye-based inks, you may still get interaction with layers over the top, even after they've dried. But there's nothing stopping you with playing around and seeing how they work. That's another thing about the acrylic inks. Once you put them down, they tend not to blend in the same way that, say, a fluid watercolor will or a dye-based ink will. And if you can see here, you can still see the lines where I put the brush marks. So if you want blended looks, they do take a little bit more work. So once I've dried this off, let's have a look at what happens when I add another color over the top. So first I'll add some strong colour where I've only used a little bit of water, and then I'll add a more dilute wash using more water. And as you can see, there's been no movement of the colour underneath. So you can happily layer these colours to get interesting looks. And as this rather wet layer dries, you will get the kind of watercolor blooms that you see, that sort of cauliflower look edges to them, which I think always makes a really nice and interesting texture. But I know it's not to everyone's taste. Another thing to look out for is your edge. So the lines that occur where the pigment sits on the edge of where you put the colour. And you get these in watercolour as well, but if you try and layer over the top of those, you will dissolve and change them. But with acrylic inks, if they've dried, they tend to stay pretty put and pretty sharp. So they can be quite fun texture to play with as well. And we'll see more of those and how to use them in the next technique, which is drawing. So of course, the simplest way of drawing with these types of inks is to use the eyedropper that comes with the bottle. And you can make some really great marks and do some really expressive kind of drawings with this type of technique. If your ink doesn't come with an eyedropper or you don't want to use it, then of course you can use dip pens to do the same sort of thing. And you can use them as dip pens, or you can use them as I'm doing here, and that is to spread out the ink and make more marks. And I've got two different types here. I've got one that holds a nib and one that's been carved from a piece of bamboo. And it's just a fun way of trying out different ways of making marks. And don't forget also to use the flat side of your nib as well. So turn your nib holder or your bamboo pen upside down and use that. And it's just a great way of making some broader marks. And if you don't have dip pens, try using a brush handle. And of course, don't forget your palette knife. You can make some very interesting marks with palette knives. But what I really wanted to show you with the palette knife is technique number 5, which I'm calling scraping, and then we're going to do a wash over. So it is exactly how it sounds. I'm just scraping the ink that's still wet across this page. And I'm using my palette knife for that, but you can also use a plastic card or any straight edge that you might have. And if we take a closer look, you can see some of the marks that I was making earlier with the dip pens, the brush, and the eyedropper. And that's because some of the pigment in those marks has dried and is permanent. So this is another great use for your acrylic inks over your dye-based or your fluid watercolors. And look what happens if I then put a wash over the top. So this is just ordinary water on a brush, and it's picking up any of the pigment that's still wet and just drawing it across the page. So there's definitely an element of serendipity in this. It's not something you can control perfectly, but it's something that you can play around with and see how long you need to let things dry, how long they need to stay wet to get these kind of effects. And then work on how to use them to great effect in your artwork. Okay, so as we're kind of on eyedroppers, at least that's where we started, let's stay with eyedroppers for technique number 6, which is drops and splatters. Now, I'm sure you've probably played around with these a lot already. If you haven't, try them at different heights to see what kind of splatter effect you can get. And also, don't be afraid of bubbles in these. Bubbles can be great fun and a great way to get an interesting effect. And if your ink bottle doesn't already have an eyedropper, you can just get plastic eyedroppers, and they're often available in chemist shops or in art shops. Other things you're going to want to try is flicking. So see how flicking onto the paper works for you. This is a very messy technique, so you might want to make sure that you're wearing an apron and that your surrounding area is covered. And don't forget to also play around with letting those drops just dribble down the page and see how that works for you. Some more things that you can try with this technique is to just use water as well. Nothing to stop you from splattering water over a page and seeing how that works in the wet ink. And whilst we're at it, why not just add another colour? Giving yourself permission to just have play with inks like this is really good fun and a really good way of getting to know them. And I hope that the techniques that I've showed you so far have been helpful to you. We've got a few more techniques to go, but before we do, give me a shout what kind of inks you are using at the moment. I would love to hear. And let me know what your favourite techniques are for using with them. And of course, if you are finding this video useful, then I really would appreciate if you could like it. That would be fantastic. Share it with anyone you think would also like it and find it helpful. And of course, if you're not one of my subscribers, become one of my subscribers as well. It'd be great to have you on board. Okay, so who's up for technique number 7? Everyone get your hands up. So technique number 7 is some more mark making, but this time we're going to use the sponges and a bit of stamping. So it is in fact 2 techniques for the price of 1. I've cut up an ordinary piece of kitchen sponge, but if you wanted to, you could also use some foam like the Rangers Ink Essentials foam. I've put a little bit on a plastic sheet and I'm just picking up a small amount on my sponge. And if you're using it through stencils, like I'm using here, then you really only need the tiniest amount. It's better to start with less and build up than to have too much and have it squidge underneath the stencil. After a few goes, you soon get the hang of it. And you can do all sorts of other mark making with sponges as well. So try all of those out too. So there's lots of different ways that you can use your stamps and do some printing with your inks as well. So you could put the ink into a sponge and sponge it onto the stamp or printing mark maker. You can do what I'm doing here, and that's just dipping the mark maker into the ink and then dipping it onto the page. You can also use a brush it on, or a brayer it onto the surface and then press that surface onto your paper. So have a go and see which ones you prefer to use. And as we have all this lovely ink still on our plastic piece of paper, it's time for technique number 8 and a bit of matte printing. So I use this technique a lot in all sorts of things, not just with my inks, but also with my paints as well. And here I'm showing you what it looks like neat, but then also what it looks like if you spray water onto the ink as well to get a more watercolor effect. And if you're a galaxy art fan, then this is a really fun technique for making galaxy art. And I've got a tutorial over on the Blitzy blog when I was working with them that uses this technique with fluid watercolors to make some galaxy art. And it's a great fun way to do it. So have a look at that. I'll leave a link to that in the description below.
That's what I would.
Okay, so next up is a really fun printing technique. So in this technique, I'm going to use ink to get a rubbing off of a textured surface. And I'm just using some chipboard pieces to make my textured surface. And you can use anything. If you've got embossing folders, you can use that. I've even done it on things like paper clips and scissors, all sorts of things. So give it a go. So it's very similar to the technique where you'd use a pencil or a crayon to make a rubbing over a textured surface. But in this case, we're going to use ink. Now it takes a little bit more practice because you want enough ink to make a rubbing, but not so much ink that it just drowns out the shape. So you might need to try it a couple of times to get the hang of this. Now this also works with other paints as well. So this will also work with acrylic paint too. So again, it's another one to try and see what you can do with it. And of course, if you're inspired by anything I'm doing here and you try these out, I would love to see how you get on with them and what you do with them next. I always love seeing the creations you make and where it takes you. I mean, that's the best bit of the job, isn't it? So if you do share anything, do tag me in and I'll come over and have a look. And all of my social media tags are below. So give me a shout. And a big thank you to everyone who does that. I love seeing what you make and it's great to connect with you. And I can't wait to see what you do next. Okay, so our last technique today, we're going to need a piece of string. And this is just ordinary string. So let's see what kind of marks we can make with it. So ink and string are a perfect match. So first up is really great at straight lines. And the texture is great fun too. But catch this, I love making circles with them. This is really good fun. Hey, who think I'd get a bit overexcited by a piece of string? Okay, let's try making some rounded shapes. And to do this, I think I'll sandwich them between two pieces of paper. Okay, let's try that again, and this time put a little bit more ink on there and see what effect that has. So you've got a couple of really good examples of how to utilize string with your ink. But another thing you can do with string, which is brilliant, is to load it up with ink and then strum it over your surface. So what I mean by this, if you hold one end fixed and stretch the string tight over your piece of paper and flick it like you would a guitar string, so the vibrations cause a great mark on the page. And if you lift the string up and down, you can also get interesting splatter marks as well, which is great fun. And if you want a closer look at these splatter marks, I've got a picture of them on my blog. So I'll leave a link below the video, or if you're watching this on my blog, just scroll down. So I hope your head is buzzing with lots of creative ideas and things you want to try out today. Have fun, and I'll see you on Wednesday. Thanks for watching. Bye.
Bye.
I think she'd look listening to her voice.
Bye. Anyway, I thought that was, again, back to discovery. So, and with what she showed, you know, if you took that spring and you had a cup of your ink, you could just take a ball of string all crumpled up and just drop it on your painting for a background. And then you could spray it. You could do monoprints. You could do just about anything. So you could take leaves and put ink on it and press it in if you wanted leaves for a background. Cheesecloth, anything for your portraits or your, you want something whimsical or just, I need a background, not white paper, so it's generic. So you could do that pretty easily. So anyway, okay, 5 minutes and we'll take some of the stuff. Hopefully it's dried by now. I can see I can see her wheels turning.
Could you see this
Could you-
growth from all of this energy that's coming from the brain after all that inspiration?
Yes.
Yes, it's gonna be fun.
Yeah, and the overriding part of this for me is it dries permanently. So now I can paint watercolors on top.
On top. That's what's so cool also. I didn't even think of that, to have the watercolor on top. There's so many
Oh, yeah.
things.
That's the, I've a lot of these paintings, this one, I'll hold this up because you can't see it. It's too big under the camera. I'll hold this, I'll pin myself. Pin. Yeah, there you go. So here's, this is all acrylic ink.
Oh,
It's
wow.
gorgeous.
Yeah. These dunes, and that's just 2 colors.
That is acrylic ink. That is amazing.
Yeah, that's just 2 colors.
It
And
looks so like your watercolors. It's
yeah. Well, I was obsessed with acrylic ink, of course. I get obsessed with
Well,
things.
I can understand that.
Here's a demo that I did. This is acrylic ink because I like to paint mountains. And that's the
beautiful.
brown and that's the white.
It has a different.
And so I actually like to paint these full sheet because you get more effect. The bigger the paper, here's Milford Sound, New Zealand.
Beautiful.
Why it's blurry, but you can see all the textures that you can get.
Wow.
But I can't paint. There you go.
You couldn't do that with watercolor, really. Is that
No,
white?
you can't. Of course, you could do it in several colors.
Is the white paint?
The white paint is just eyedropper. Let it flow.
Is it acrylic?
Huh?
The white paint?
Yeah, that's acrylic ink.
Okay.
That's the paper right there. This is acrylic ink. After it's really interesting techniques because the salt. I don't know if you can. I don't have a good example. It's on the painting.
Oh.
Back up there on the wall. It is when you put the salt on and you let it dry and then you put the white on, you get all this texture. See this texture right here? So that was painted and then salted and then let dry until it's almost dry, and then you put white ink on it, and it goes around the little salt particles. So it really gives you
This is new texture.
that's watercolor.
This is new.
That's watercolor. That's a card swipe. That's the first one I ever did with acrylic ink. And Diane watched me do it.
Wow. Lake Louise.
Anyway,
All the glaciers.
You can there's so many things as she was going through that video, even in my sketchbook, because I love to take my sketchbook out. I can make all kinds of different backgrounds first and just let them dry and put the watercolor or the watercolor inks over it.
yes, exactly. So You could have all that stuff ready to go. You remember when we were painting the bullseye?
Yes.
The so that's a light source. So Monica, you could take advantage of this, as you all could. This is a Nita Engel technique. And this is just painting wet on wet, wet on wet. And you paint circles, that's a bullseye, yellow, then red, then blue. And I let them all run back and forth into each other. We did a whole workshop on Nita Engel, tribute to Nita Engel. Anyway, that is called her bullseye. So now I have a bunch of light sources. If I had half a dozen sheets of this, and I went out to paint plein air, I'd already have my light source.
It's such a great idea. That's so helpful. It's so helpful.
Oh, blue, you can use whatever mood strikes you. I painted underwater divers using red blues like ultramarine to teal. So I get a whole gradation of this blue, wet and wet, just as a background. Then I can paint right on top of that. So
This is going to be a game changer, Joe, because that's what I struggle with in the backgrounds and things in the wet on wet technique is I'm always disturbing something. Or I lose a really great effect because it gets disturbed, when you add other elements on top, other layers on top of it when you're glazing or adding more trees or water effects.
well, we all know that painting watercolor is like golf. The fewer the strokes, the better the result.
Right.
So use the biggest brush you can for as long as you can, and be thoughtful. But it's like chess. How much time did I touch the paper? I don't. If I spend too much time with too many touches, it's not going to be nearly as good as if I was planning. Be thoughtful. I want this here, blank. One stroke, two strokes, done. Don't try to go back right away in the first 5 or 10 seconds and say, oh, I got to fix that. I got to fix. No, you can fix it all later.
Yes.
Much easier to fix it later. All you're really doing is screwing it up.
Yeah.
That's
that's what happens to me. Yes.
Yeah, that's an art term. Too many touches. Anyway. Okay, let's see what we have drying. We started with the trees, and they are pretty much dry, and Monica's got this tree all ready to go. So that's kind of how our trees dried out. I think that's pretty dry. Anyway, I think that pine tree is very good. The other trees it makes it believable. So let's take that off. Let's look at the leaf. I think, it's not quite dry yet, but there's my leaf. And look at all that beautiful texture that I got. I'm going to dry that off a little bit. I want to put some watercolor on top of that, just to see what happens. I'm just blotting some of that color. It's not making much difference. And the salt did work. It's got some beautiful texture in there. And here are the flowers. And here are my other flowers. I think they're dry, almost. So I'll leave that alone. I'll tape this on a piece of board just to see what happens. If you guys had any flowers. Gonna have to go get some clean water eventually, but not yet. I think I'll just let this bleed off. So let me bring the flower photo back up. So now that flower photo has some interesting elements in it. It's got these guys. It's got this baby breath. It's got some leaves, of course. It's got a vase. I'm not putting that on there, but it's got these big, long, graceful things happening. So let's see what we can do with that. This is just for demonstration purposes. I haven't planned anything, so just going to see what happens. I'm going to make these, what goes with blue? I'm going to make them orange. Mix up some orange over here.
We're using watercolor now.
I'm doing a watercolor on top of this just to see what happens. I really don't care right now, but I'm just going to say, okay, I'm not going to paint a regular flower now. So there's my, there's some, see how beautifully it paints right over that. Want that to connect. And I think I'm going to drop a little bit of that pink in. Pretty cool. Back to more orange. I don't have to be careful with this at all. In fact, I don't want to be careful. Put some pink in there. Kind of looks flowery. Connect those. Put some more pink in. Just a swatch. There we go. So there are my flowers. Wow. I'm going to sprinkle a little water on the paper. Spit. Big drops. And I'm doing that because I don't want these lines to look, I don't want these lines to be real and contrived. So I'm just going to mix up a little green. And let's see, I've got a stem coming down through here. Let's put another one in that. See how some of those explode and some of them don't? Because I've put those drops of water on the paper. I'm just going to do some leaves going off. Kind of fun. I think I'm gonna sprinkle a little more water up here. Let those guys blow up a little bit. Change the color a little bit. I'm gonna take my white paint. Gonna mix up a little yellow, I think. Anyway, you can kind of get an idea of this over watercolor. And yes, I could wait for that to dry, and I could go back with a more defined petal in some cases. Let's see what happens if I anyway, just a quickie Uh-oh, what happened? What fell off? This is my wife, right?
Yep.
Cool. So anyway, you can keep going forever on these things. You can use a little colored pencil. It's too wet for that right now, but if I wanted to put a few marks. So we started off with this. So you could make this into anything that you wanted. There we go, that was better. Less contrived. Fewer strokes. That make sense?
There's a broad range between making sense and being able to do it.
There you go.
You know, doing it is just doing it.
Yeah,
Okay, that's another bumper sticker. That's another t-shirt.
yeah, just do it.
Doing it is just
Just
doing
do
it.
it.
I'm gonna write that down.
Oh, I have another one. I went in March with 5 of my girlfriends from freshman year. So there are people I've known for 60 years now. And we went for a weekend out in Palm Desert. And one of the people who has always been to me, one of the wittiest people I know, she can just say ordinary things and they're brilliant. I don't know
Yeah,
how she
yeah.
does it. She's one of those. But she says her family, and she's been through a lot. Her husband died last year and, you know, all sorts of things. But she said her new motto is, don't do stupid shit. You know?
There you go.
You know, because usually when you do something dumb, you know it. You know, you just kind of say, ah, and go ahead and do it, and then you're sorry.
Yeah, if we only knew at the time that it was stupid.
But sometimes
While
you
we were-
do know.
Oh, yeah, exactly.
You know, but you think, ah, it'll be
Sometimes
fine."
we know.
Yeah. She's
I really like this guy.
the one on the, that's beautiful. That one on the right.
That was just the fewest brush strokes. The other one's too contrived. It's gonna be pitched, but it was just a sample. So
Hmm.
I'm hiding that one, but I like the one I just did. That's this is taking advantage.
That's good.
Anyway,
Joe, this is a game changer. This is so fun.
Yes, it is fun, isn't it? So, not be judgmental. You know, you can look at this stuff tomorrow or next week or whenever. So I'm just wiping the salt off of this, hoping it's dry enough so nothing smears. So let's see if I learned anything from the last time by just plopping down some color and letting it paint itself. What was that? I'll wait a few minutes. I'll bring that. I'll let you figure out the flowers. Yeah. I'm painting flat on all of these with this acrylic ink. I have painted flat so far. I have not used gravity. So, and with this, you don't have to come up to, you can just go right, yeah, just go right over it. You don't have to outline anything when you have this acrylic background.
What do you mean go over it?
In other words, you just like you did here. You don't have to worry about coming around
Oh, no.
this carefully.
But do you want me to
Look at
just,
your palette. That's beautiful.
well, that's, that,
Tundra violet.
tundra violet.
Isn't that
The
beautiful?
palette term better than any painting. It's when I always have it. Often happens. But okay, the palette.
Okay,
Hi, Camille.
yellow. Yellow and yellow. Try some yellow. Try some orange.
Right.
Try some. think I have to let that dry just a little bit. Crumpled up leaf. Have to wait for that to dry. You know, if I had some, I'm gonna try this. If I had some other color, but I'm just gonna try this for fun. Just to see what happens. I just want to see what would happen. Probably not the right color, but I don't know that. Anyway, I just want to see what happens with the textures. And yes, I could let this dry and then go back and put some nif on there. But it was certainly gave me a lot to work with for a start. Oh, I like that edge.
You know, this gives me the sense that I finally can do with watercolor what I do in Photoshop, and that's lock the bottom layer.
Yeah,
You know, when you lock that layer so it doesn't move. So you can put type on top of it or whatever. That's
yep. My leaf is blowing in the wind. Okay, what would everyone has a vote. Let me go to cluster. Put this guy away for a second. Does anything in here seem like something that you guys might want to paint? You want to try the ocean? Hello?
Let's,
I liked that one snow scene you had on
what,
that where you put the watercolor on top. It's like kind of a stream coming down. I don't see it now.
Oh, this one?
Let me see. I can't see it.
Oh, sorry. I'm not on share.
That one. Oh, well, I can't point at it, but the third one.
Which one? This one?
Yes, I like that one a lot.
Okay. That's got a bunch of stuff in there. It's got everything in there. And the references in your handout.
Which of course I didn't print.
That's okay. You can just bring it up like this. Here's the reference. Do you want to see the reference and the painting?
Sure.
Probably. So let me do this.
I don't know. How do other people feel about that?
Well, it incorporates everything that it's got moving water, it's got trees, it's got whatever. So I'm going to make a decision that yes, we'll paint this. In fact,
I love it.
here's a better one because I broke it down into Noton. So now I see the shapes. How about that? I painted this vertically, I painted it horizontally, so it really doesn't make any difference. So there we go. And now from this bottom part, I see the shapes. I see white. This is too much information. Forget about all these little ditzy dots. Okay. So first of all, I have to draw this. However it makes sense. So I have a shape on the left, and it's basically this shape right here. That's a big shape on the left. I have a shape on the right. That's this shape. And what's left over is the stream, is water. So we can do a bunch of technique right here. We can let it paint itself. This is going to be a lot of painting. I'm going to do this differently. I'm going to, instead of just, this is all with a brush, we're going to use the nib, the tip, the dropper, and a brush on both of those. So what I have to do now is figure out my horizon line. So now I'm going to draw this, and I will draw this pretty heavily. And you guys can just follow up there. You can just follow the script. So I believe in the rule of thirds. There's a third, there's a third, third, and my interest is going to be in one of those intersections. This actually has a high horizon. So there's my horizon. And I'm looking at the reference, and I have a shape that comes down like that. And then I have another shape that comes up like that. So now I've drawn this side and this side. Okay. I'm not drawing any hills. I'm not drawing any rocks. I'm drawing this big shape. So I've already drawn that. Now I've drawn that. Now I'm going to draw this, and that's just like a little C curve. And where does it go off the page? About here. So that's going to be my bank on that side. And the other one is just a diagonal that goes off, and it goes up out to the center of the page from here. So that's going to be my other side of the stream. See how I did that? You see how simple that is? That's how you start. You do not start by drawing a tree or a bush or a whatever. So this is going to frame my stream. And I'm not going to start drawing rocks yet. I'm going to put this in here as a big vertical. That's my tree. And that goes down to about halfway. About halfway. And I've got another tree over here, and I don't care necessarily about these trees. Got a middle size, a small, and a large. I've also got this hill over here. So that hill is above my horizon line. And it starts about right here. And it goes off the page about right there. So that's my hill. And then I have a bunch of diagonals coming down from here. And now I can say, okay, I've got a rock there. I have this little, right about here, I have this little waterfall. That's this guy. That's this guy. Okay, and I have some streams and some rocks up there. I have this starting shape there. Now I am concerned with this. I've got that, and then I've got a little notch that sticks out. And there's where my stream ends, my little waterfall. I've got a couple of rocks back here. A rock here, tree limb. And this is just roughed up a little bit. Got another tree up here. That's really all I need. I'm going to have a rock in there. That's really all I need. Rock here, just so I don't forget it. I think I'm ready to go. Can everybody see this? Can everybody see how I drew it? I just started with big, simple shapes. And I saw where they went off the page. So now I've got this nice shape. I've got trees back here, but those are all going to be pretty simple. Don't try to copy this. I mean, do your best to draw it, but don't try to copy it exactly, because your paint is going to do it for you.
This is acrylic paint, acrylic ink, right?
Well, yes, we're using acrylic ink.
Okay.
Absolutely. That's what we're bound to do. There you go. There's the shape of my stream. Kind of cool. There we go. Look at that. And you saw how I drew it. I found my horizon line, high horizon line, top third, 1/3, 2/3. I drew this as a vertical anchor, vertical anchor, vertical anchor. I did this because that's where those trees go. That makes this wedge of light right here. Then I did this diagonal coming down. That diagonal, that C curve going across, that left this shape right here for my stream. So I have the wedge of light, and then I have my stream. They're both kind of trapezoids, triangles, whatever. This is going to be my hill, so I can give it a little bit of depth. And I made this diagonal a little bit different, and I'm going to make this diagonal a little bit different. There's one, that's a different angle, and this is a different angle. Okay? You don't want all three of these just to be the same. Here's my big tree. So there you go. Kind of that simple. That's especially if you're out in the boonies painting. Please don't make it any more complicated than this. Big boulders. Just enough to remind me that rock goes here. There you go. So I'll give you a few minutes to draw that guy.
No, I'm doing now. Is that okay?
Yeah, sure.
I love
You don't
that.
have to add, there's no permission in this class. Just do what you
Well, I don't want to
what
go.
gets you excited. So it's the same
But-
process. You don't have to do exactly this one. Diana's doing another one. You can do something similar, but we're doing a landscape. How about that? We're gonna do a landscape.
I'm just gonna follow that. Wherever she goes, that's what.
I love that water coming down.
Mhm.
If I can do that.
That's just gravity.
What color did you use to get the foreground water?
Mixed both the blue and the brown together.
Oh,
Yeah, so you've got all kinds of ranges of grays, neutrals in there.
well, we'll see.
Blue bias, you
Black.
shake your paint out.
No, I'm making up a landscape.
Doing a landscape.
Yeah, but I'm making it up and then I'm gonna make it sort of abstract.
Oh.
Realistic, yeah. Yeah, see what happens.
Yeah.
We'll have ended up painting for about 3.5, 3+ hours, besides me blabbing. But this is just a start. I think this is a valuable start, not because of acrylic ink. That's the medium of choice, but for the process. For being able to paint watercolor, your normal watercolor on top of this. Okay. A lot of that's gonna paint. Don't go around that white.
Okay,
It's added later
okay,
on top.
gotcha.
Just make a big, see how I made a big blue line and I made a big brown line. This is what Diane is painting because she is a rebel. This is what she's painting. Make a blue line, make a brown line,
Oh,
and that's it. And then just melt it and see what happens. You can add more ink, you can scratch, you can scrape, you can salt, you can do whatever. I want this less contrast. I want this to be the most contrast right in here. This is done after. That's the white ink while it's damp. That's salt. Don't do that while it's wet because it'll just go away. You have to let it dry a little bit before you can do that. This color is a mix of the blue and the brown. I'm going to get this gray. I can bias it warm. I can bias it cool. Actually, what we're painting, the rest of us, is Janice's fault.
You can blame
It's all
me.
on Janice if it doesn't turn out. So
You can blame me. I'm
yeah,
used
we
to
blame
it.
you got, yeah. Yeah, you don't have to draw too much. I've overdrawn this for what I usually do, but I wanted to give you a clue as to how I got to this shape and this shape, these two trapezoids right here, to make this wedge of light and to make the stream. That's how I got there. Yeah. And I have not painted this. I painted this one with a brush. So this is going to be fun for me because I have not painted it using both. Both the nib and the brush. So I'm going to go get some clean water and I'll be right back and then we'll start painting this. Except for Diane, she's already started because she's painting something.
Well, Paula's already started too.
And so is Paula.
mm,
Uh-oh, who's got the key?
Oh.
Lord.
No, right here.
Oh, thank you.
I'm usually the
At
one
least
that
it is
does
not
that.
locked in.
Yeah. I had my hands full, so I stuck it in my pocket and then forgot about it.
I did it. Usually I leave it in the drawer.
Oh. Okay, let's see. Let's not get married to this. Let's just do it.
There you go. Let it paint itself. Don't try to copy that. It's impossible. Let it spray some water on there and let it paint itself. Okay, let's see. I'm going to start off with blue because that's going to be the atmospheric perspective. And Monica, you're going to like this because it's going to involve these pine trees. As I said, I have not done this with there's my I'm gonna kind of draw this out. This little bit right here. Rock, rock. A little bit of that there. None of this is going to probably make too much difference. Bit blob, blob. Okay, I've got to start. Let's see what happens when I spray it. Oops, who's got my... Okay, I want this to stay in the background, so I'm just spraying above that line. Well, that's got a nice effect already, huh?
What color is that? Is that just one color?
Yeah, that's my blue. So I'm going to let some of this run off vertically. That's my my indigo blue. Oh, look at this. Isn't that interesting?
Is
Look
that
at
the
that back.
fine, is that the fine
that.
mist spray? All right.
Wiping up. That's pretty interesting. Kind of cool. Now I'm going to start using a brush because I want to put this tree in here. There, look at that. Easy peasy. Another tree's going to go in here. I love what's happening right there. Love it. And make some happening downstream. Finish this rock off. Oh, I'm liking this. More ink on my palette. I just, my ink on my palette dried up, so I'm going to squeeze some out. But I like to start on this a lot. Very cool. Don't want too much happening back there because I don't want to lead your eye off the page. There's where that ball is starting. Coming down through there. A little more ink right here. Nice little dark. I'll keep this tree going as a dark. Now I'm going to mix I'm going to mix this blue and this brown together to get a dark. And I'm going to start putting in this hillside. There's my hillside.
Oh, shit. I didn't put the top on.
That's what I warned you about.
I know.
There's my hillside coming up. And that is the blue and the brown mixed together. I'm going to go back to the brown. This is not going to look like this sample because that was done in 2 different colored inks. You okay with your
Oh, yeah. I just.
big strokes? And the rock back there. Blue. Try to keep my touches. I'm blocking in my big shapes. See, I can see the stream now because of those shapes. Very cool. I'm going to put some on warm back here. There we go. Warm. Trees here while it's still wet, but they're warm trees. There we go. A little bit of warm on this side. That's too much. That's better. Hey, it's starting to take shape. Look at all that beautiful melt. Need some more color. Don't forget to dip your brush. It's time for a little spatter. This other side, I'm gonna have to start blocking this in. I don't want to make anything too defined up here. It's pretty simple. I think that's got a pretty nice feel to it. That's got a nice depth, I think, going back. It frames this stream pretty well. So I'm going to let that settle for a few minutes.
But Joe, I'm on my, getting on back on the road. Here's where I am, and who knows where I'll be when I finish it tomorrow, or the next day, or the day after.
Let's see. Oh, fine.
Oh, let's see.
I don't think he heard you.
Oh my God.
Now is the time to lift if you want.
Joe, I guess.
Joe,
Yes.
all at once.
Okay, on my way, because I have to.
Okay. Okay,
This is
good.
not-
What you should try to do, because you have a lot of midtone,
Okay,
so figure out your darks,
okay,
midtone, dark, dark, midtone.
okay.
Figure out your shapes. So you have space. So you see depth.
All right. Thank you.
Oh, you're welcome. I hope this
Oh, good to
inspired
meet
you.
It was very exciting. Nice being a part of this.
I know.
Very, very interesting.
Come back to the next one.
I will.
Sorry, it's almost feeding time at the zoo with the dogs. Oh, yeah, I got it.
Gotcha.
They are important in our life.
The thing that I don't want to do is keep touching this, so I'm stopping. And when I said that,
You lied.
you know me. Yes. Okay, now I'm stopping. I can put all this stuff in later, all the other stuff, but I think it's a good start. Love this part right here. Love what happened there. That carries that whole thing
Which part? Show us again.
right here.
Oh, yeah.
Now, make sure you put your brush in the water. All the brushes that you just used, put them in water. There really are not that many brush strokes in here. And that brown is kind of got a little bit of green in it. I put some salt here, put some spatter there. I like the salt better than the spatter, but I can always, if you don't like it, you can just go like this. Go on too much. Yeah, that's that. And what's also interesting about this acrylic ink, if it's half dry, if you were painted with acrylic paint, it gets about half dry. And you can take and brush water on it and blot it off. And where it dries, it stays. But where it doesn't, it'll come up and it gives a beautiful texture.
This is just
Such a
been
beautiful
so
texture
interesting.
to it because it
Here's
was
it.
half dry. Anyway,
Thank you so much. No, it's a wonderful workshop.
oh, good. Glad you,
Every workshop is great. I'm really, it's just, thank you so much.
of course.
I think the first class I ever took with you must have been a workshop. But-
Probably.
Yeah, but I can't even remember how long ago. It was a while ago. Several years.
This,
I do not have too much more to do to this.
That's, Joe, that's really interesting because it could either be, or like the right side could easily be like buildings. The right side could almost be buildings.
Right.
Little street out in the country.
Oh, look at the very nice in there.
Yeah, I put some of this white in there.
Ah, gotcha.
I don't know what I'm.
I don't think I want to use any white on here, but I've just got to let it settle. Look at all this beautiful stuff that is happening. Oh, good.
I need a little salt.
Hey, I'm gonna mix up a little blue. I haven't put these rocks in yet, but it's gonna be a little bit of water texture. If I can get a little out of this. Keep this really simple.
I just learned a lesson
Enough.
that the white watercolor is not well with the, yeah, but it's not mixing. See, yeah, I'll leave that. But this is white watercolor ink, which is not. Yeah, I don't know.
Blue is a pretty color.
It's interesting.
Sorry?
Like iridescent. Oops, I'm sorry. Talking about sheets.
Well, I did get a little salt, but not much, but that's okay. I think it would have been too much. Or stream.
Beautiful. That is so amazing to watch that occur. It's really
Well,
things.
it's just like I've been saying, you know, less brushstrokes. You know, that's all it is, but it starts with those basic shapes.
Right.
I gotta put in a couple more rocks, but I'm not gonna do that. So does anyone have any questions while we have a little bit of time? Did anybody have fun?
Yes.
Oh, yes. I
Did you
can't wait.
discover something?
Oh, yes.
Good.
Were you going to put some white to make some trees or something in one of these? Kind of got lost.
No, but I will show you.
So I think
I
I have a little bit of a snow idea in mind.
I did put some white in these leaves. So that's what happened to it. I will let me try something quickly. I don't know if this will take or not. I can put some white in. I'll just go ahead and do it.
In this,
I'll
I'm
just
talking
go
about
ahead.
in the painting we're doing.
I can put some white in. for maybe a couple of trees back here, or maybe some sky holes. There'll be some sky holes, maybe a tree, maybe a tree or two. That's not bad. That kind of helps. Kind of interesting. Maybe I'll put a couple of drops here, and then spray just slightly. There we go. See that tree bloom, blossom? Yes.
Yes.
Oh, that's
Yes.
very cool.
Oh, that's very cool.
Yeah. I'll make the waterfall go down a little bit. I'll put in while that's still wet, I'll put in another, let's see, maybe there.
If you put watercolor on top of this, what is the point?
I can, yes. I don't know if I will. If I do, it'll be back here. It'll be some yellow, orange, some yellow light.
I see.
Okay, I'm gonna blow up this. This.
Oh, that's nice.
You can see that matches the rest. What's happening there. And I can put paint on top of that. If it's too strong, I can go ahead and put paint on top. I kind of like it. It looks like the light is blasting through there. Yeah, I like that white in there. I don't know if I can do it yet, but I'll try it right now. I'm just going to use a little bit of this. If I can find a clean place on my palette. Yeah, here it is. That's not it. So let's see what happens if I just put a little bit of a warm light back here. Easy peasy. And that's going to be casting a shadow off here, or some ambient light. A little bit on this stream right here. I'm going to make one of those trees back here. It's light coming through, and I'm not going to worry about any of this because I can blot it. I can also lift after the fact. I'm going to put a little warmer light going on through there. And yes, over here. Anyway, so now I've got kind of a little painting that I did not have before. I'm going to put some that orange color up in here. Yeah, so now it kind of connects. I don't have to worry about anything. I got to wait for this to dry to give that just a little hint. Little warmth right there.
Does acrylic ink or watercolor?
Yeah. Inks.
But is it acrylic or watercolor?
So you can do just about anything you want to do, and you can fix just about anything you want to fix. I can also use squash, fake watercolor. That white worked pretty well. Thank you for making me do it. Highlight, couple of highlights. Too many. There you go.
Right on the money.
Oh, that's fabulous. It's fabulous. You like it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
The minute I came in, I loved that.
Okay. Questions? You can ask all the questions you want because I'm out of answers.
No, it's no good me asking you, what's the meaning of life?
So I'm going to stop the recording unless anyone has a profound question.
You missed my question. No. What's the meaning of life?
Oh, that has to do with today's workshop. Meaning of life does not count. Anyway. Okay, I'm going to stop the recording. So you should have hopefully